prostitution is something that you can't get rid of at all, even if you keep it illegal. And actually, a U.S. Justice Minister himself said that prostitution is inevitable and therefore we must decriminalize and regulate. And this has actually been proven by Sweden. They've been trying to completely wipe out prostitution for about 15 years, and they've had no progress so far. That's according to an article from Slate. And big human rights organizations actually support the legalization of prostitution. According to USA Today, these include the United Nations, Human Rights Watch, the World Health Organization, and the biggest human rights organization in the world, Amnesty International. The reasoning for this is the severe mistreatment of prostitutes. They face all sorts of health issues and abuse, and they can't do anything to defend themselves out of fear that they will go to jail. An article from the NY Times explained that rapists actually deliberately target prostitutes for this reason. According to the New York Times, now when a sex worker is raped, he or she is unlikely to go to the police fearing arrest. Rapists are well aware of that vulnerability, even claiming to target sex workers because they know we have no recourse. Exploitation and danger are exasperated when sex work is criminalized. And it's actually been shown that when you legalize prostitution, it greatly reduces rape. Lawmakers in Rhode Island actually made prostitution legal on accident for a period of time. And during that period of time, they prevented 824 rapes that would have otherwise been reported to the police, and presumably many more that otherwise would have not been reported in any case. So that being said, prostitutes are also forced into making unhealthy choices for themselves. They are usually forced to abstain from using condoms during sex. According to Elite Daily, customers will sometimes abuse prostitutes and physically harm them in order to make them not use a condom. And even if the client is not violent, police often use condoms as evidence, which makes prostitutes fearful of using them anyway. And the Huffington Post quoted that legalizing prostitution would actually decrease the spread of HIV and other STDs. They said researchers at the 20th International AIDS Conference in Melbourne, Australia, presented a newspaper in which they studied HIV among female sex workers in Canada, India, and Kenya. They found that infections could be reduced by 33 to 46% in those countries if prostitution were made legal. So this just kind of goes to show that prostitutes are inclined to take better care of themselves, and clients are discouraged to take advantage of them if it is legalized. And in response to what Luke said, he said that they always are forced into prostitution in some way or another. I mean, that being said, there's been evidence to show that prostitutes working for legal brothels actually have no problem with it. And it actually quoted that they're fantastic in New Zealand, according to the Star magazine. And even if like many prostitutes or some prostitutes are forced into the business, keeping it illegal will do nothing to improve their conditions as they are. And also when he said that many of them face mental problems, there are countless articles and statistics showing that prostitutes actually usually do it by choice, and that they don't have any problem with it at all. And most of these mental problems due to harsh conditions in brothels, these problems are actually not very valid because brothels have been proven to work very well in countries where it's legalized. They have very strict rules, and they regulate their clients really well, as Megan said. And they do screen credit cards, and customers will get kicked out if they're too intoxicated or refuse to wear a condom. Brothels also allow prostitutes freedom from abusive pimps. A quote from the New York Times said, "Some had pimps, most did not. One woman told us the brothel allowed her to sever ties with an abusive pimp. Most important in all our research, we found no evidence of trafficking in legal brothels." And there's a lot of proof of safe brothels that are already successfully in operation today. The New York Times also quoted, "In legal brothels, employees report that they feel safe, are free to come and go, and are bound only by their contract. Of the brothel workers we surveyed, 84% said that their job felt safe. Workers report that they felt safe largely because the police, employers, and co-workers were there to protect them.